What's going on, YouTube? I'm back with another video. Didn't really think this whole video thing was gonna kind of take off. A long time ago, a couple of my soldiers said I should make a video about some of the stuff that I used to teach them about, like my kit setup that you guys saw, and the idea of the whole pant leg, boot blousing thing. It wasn't my idea originally. I never took credit for it. Um, got that idea from one of my soldiers and just kind of expounded upon it and made it my own and did it my own way because I'm a cheap bastard. I didn't want to have to pay to have bands, sewn into the pant legs. So, anyways, but a lot of you guys have subscribed to me. Now that I'm a AIT instructor out here at Fort Sam, quite a few have actually confronted me and said, "Hey, I watched your videos and can I get your autograph?" And trying to be, jokesters and shit like that. But anyway, so I figured I'll make a video because I got a lot of questions from a lot of you. So it's kind of like a get to know me episode, I guess. I don't know. I'll try to start making more videos, but this YouTube thing isn't really my deal. But there's a lot of subscribers now, so I'll figure out some stuff to do. So drop a comment below, whatever. Ask me some questions. Let me know what kind of videos you want me to show you on some of the stuff that I know, so I can give you and impart some knowledge from things that I've gained. So anyways, kind of go into my experience and what I've done so far in the Army. Alright, been in, oh, if you couldn't tell, by the way, I'm on duty again tonight, so excuse the mess here. The building, one of the barracks buildings, water pipe, like literally fell out of the fucking ceiling, so they've had to move all kinds of people around and whatnot, so they kind of just threw some people in this office, so it's a little tight, a little messy still, but that was like 2 weeks ago. Anyways, so how I like being in the Army. I like being in the Army. It's been the best decision of my life. Army's pretty much given me everything that I've ever wanted in life, and given me a chance to actually have a real life. My friends from back in the days know that I was either going to be dead or probably in jail. So, but I'm here. I'm alive. I got a wife. Got 2 kids. Beautiful. I love them. So yeah, I like the Army. It's kept me alive. Almost died a few times, but for the most part, I still like it. So I'm going to talk about some of my experiences and stuff that I've done and been through. Like I said, I've been in the Army for about 13 years. My first duty station was at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. No, I'm not airborne, never was airborne. My original contract was airborne infantry, but I'm colorblind, and that was a no-go at MEPS. So I chose medic because it was the next best thing. I figured, hey, medics go with infantry, so sign me up. And then I went to a hospital at Fort Bragg, Womack, and worked on the mother-baby unit. Yep. Postpartum care, pregnant women and babies. I was one of the only males on the floor for a while. Then there was 3. For the most part, it was just me for quite a bit at a time. So while I was there, though, I did learn a lot. I got some notes here, so I'll be looking down. TBI, I forget shit all the time. Some other baby unit, it's a shift work. You do 12-hour shifts. So if you got a really cool NCOIC, they'll hook you up with like 3 12s and then 3 days off, or 4 days off and then 4 12s and then 3 days off or 4 days off, and 3 12s and then 4 12s and 3 12s. Or you could get 1 12-hour shift one day and then a day off and then on 12 and then off and then on and off, and that's kind of shitty. I had that for a little while. You also have to work, at least in my experience, you have to work night shifts. They switch you every 3 or 4 months or so. You go from working day shift to working night shift, so that's kind of a bummer. But mostly what I did, because it was a ward, did lots of vitals, like all the damn time. Got tired of doing it. Handed out food trays, picked up food trays, changed out freaking bedside commodes, cleaned people up when they shit themselves, changed a shit ton of diapers, learned how to breastfeed Not, you know, I don't have boobs, but I had to teach women how to breastfeed, which is kind of awkward at first, but got the hang of it. Did lots of IVs, learned how to do neonatal care, neonatal resuscitation in case the baby stopped breathing, stuff like that. Foley catheters, learned how to do some stuff with blood transfusions, you know, Rh negative and Rh positive women whose blood type was different than their babies, and so they had to come in as a high risk pregnancy because their body was trying to reject the baby because the baby had different blood type. So that's kind of interesting. A couple times I had to stick a tube down a baby's throat and drain all the fluid. Sometimes they still have a lot of amniotic fluid in their stomachs, and so they don't like to eat, so they're not gaining enough weight. We like to see them in the two days that they're there. So I did that a few times. Learned a whole lot about meds from the nurses and the doctors and stuff like that. It helped. One doctor in particular, me and him became pretty good working together, and helped do a lot of circumcisions on baby boys when they were getting that done there. Did a whole lot of stuff. A lot of IV sticks, like I said before. The hardest IV stick that I've ever had to do was while I was there, and that was on a 2-day-old baby. Had to do IV in the forehead because the nurses missed both arms and both legs trying to get a stick in. So they called me in to do it, and the only place that was left was, unfortunately, the forehead. So that was kind of interesting. After being there for a little while, I went down to podiatry, which is in the orthopedics clinic. I had a lot of fun down there. Did a lot of wound dressing, sterile wound dressings, and cleaning diabetic foot ulcers, which, by the way, smell absolutely fucking horrible. Hope none of you ever have to deal with that shit. Ugh, it's gross. Got to pull some hardware, you know, pins and stuff like that. A couple screws here and there out of the feet. Got to do a lot of casts. Put on a whole bunch of casts on the leg from the knee all the way down to the toes. Some sutures. Did a lot of sutures, sewing up stuff, and again learned a lot about the different meds, particular for the type of patients that we had. From there, I went to Korea. I was at Camp Casey. Didn't really like my time there very much. Didn't have my family with me as well. But there, didn't really do a whole lot of medical care. Mostly spent a lot of time in the motor pool. On my vehicle, I had a track, a 113 and a 577. Really fun to drive. Not so fun to work on. Not so fun when you break track. But did a lot of field time. Spent a lot of time in the motor pool. A lot of time going in and out of the connexes, doing inventories and all kinds of shit like that. The coolest thing I ever got to do while I was there, though, got to go on a JPAC mission as a medic. They needed a medic. So my first round at the time, picked me, which was a really good thing. I absolutely love that detail. You know what a JPAC is? It's a Joint POW Accounting Command or Commission. I forget which one. But anyways, they go around the world and they find people that have been MIA or KIA from previous wars, and through details and war records and stuff like that, they actually go to the suspected site where that person is buried and dig up the remains if they are able to find the remains, and then bring them back home. And they're based in Hawaii, and then they do some DNA testings, and they eventually get them to the family, so the family can actually, you know, bury them on American soil. So that was a really cool detail. I was very thankful to actually have that opportunity. I did also learn a lot about meds because I was in Charlie Med unit, and so we had a shit ton of meds, and I didn't know what a lot of the meds were for, so I started looking it up and learning about them, and did a lot of that on my own time, not necessarily being taught. So that was pretty much my time in Korea. It was only a year, went by pretty quick, not quick enough though. After that, I went to Fort Lewis, which is where I started making my first videos. The entire time I was there, I was in the 4th Battalion, 23rd Infantry Regiment. Spent 6 years there, all in the same infantry battalion. Learned a whole lot about strikers. Went to quite a few different live tissue labs. where you learn how to do different things, the stuff that you learn in basic whiskey school, stuff that I'm kind of teaching now, how to really pack a wound, combat gauze, what crepitus feels like, bone on bone, seeing amputation. For a lot of guys, it's the first time they actually see real blood, so it's kind of interesting, kind of really good for them to be able to see that and then get that experience, so they don't freak out when it comes to real casualty, and they actually see blood again. Do a crike. We did needle chest decompressions, venous cut downs. They don't do that anymore though. Quite a few other things. I don't remember all of it, but if you go through BCT3 Brigade Combat Trauma Training, then that's what I'm talking about. Learn how to do some chest tubes as well. Sutures again. Learn lots more about meds. Had 2 deployments with those infantry guys. Absolutely loved it. Would love to go back again with those guys. First deployment, I was a senior medic for Bravo Company, and absolutely loved my time there. Had a really great first sergeant. Was continues to this day to be a good mentor for me, and all the guys that were in that company were just awesome dudes, and love every single one of them. We had a great deployment. We lost some brothers, but overall it was a fantastic deployment. Second deployment, back to the same area in southern Afghanistan. This time I was in the aid station. I was the forward aid station NCO, in charge of I had a little small aid station. I had a doctor assigned to me and 2 junior medics, and we ran an aid station in an area that was hostile for our battalion's area, and did our thing there. Treated some locals. Had a few people die on us. But overall, it was still a really good deployment. Both deployments, I met some really great soldiers and made some lifelong friends that I still miss to this day. That they're still alive, they're not dead, but they just kind of went our separate ways, and they're living their life, I'm living my life. But we keep in touch, and they're like brothers to me. So after that, I came here to Fort Sam, where I'm currently at now as a AIT instructor. Taught the whiskey phase. After you finish EMT, you come to whiskey phase. We teach you all kinds of skills that you're going to need for your combat training. Currently, right now, I'm out at Camp Bullis, where we do the FTX, and you put all that classroom training, hands-on skills, and put it into combat scenario-based training. It's mostly all mass cal type stuff. I have fun with it. I really like throwing smoke grenades, getting them kind of. I wouldn't say I like to choke the soldier medics out with the smoke, but I really like the smoke. I like to make it hard. That way, when you get out to the real army and your real unit, it's not as bad. Hopefully, anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much my experience in a nutshell. There's a whole bunch of shit that I didn't tell you guys about, but if you got any more questions or things you want to know, or some future videos that you want me to put out, just let me know. Put a comment down below, whatever. I'll get better at this whole YouTube thing and editing, and hopefully you guys continue to like my videos and watch them. That's all I got. I'm gonna go do some barracks checks and bed checks and make sure soldier medics aren't goofing off doing dumb shit. So have a good night.